Hello time travelers! Welcome to another cooking video so soon after my turkey one. This one's about ham. And I'm sorry, I know, I don't normally do cooking videos that often, but it's the holidays. And I need to share the glorious recipes that I've learned and tweaked over the years. Every Christmas, I make a ham and cornbread and beans. That's the staple. I have to have it. And even when I started keto, I kept trying to figure out how to make it. And I went a couple years without, and I finally figured out how to make it. And that's what this video is about. So the recipe in this video is for an 8-pound ham. Start with turning on the oven to 325 degrees. The ham I like to get is the spiral cut smoked kind. The smoky flavor with the sweet glaze is an amazing combination. And the spiral part appeals to my laziness, I guess you can call it that, so I don't have to carve it as much. You're going to want to get some nitrile gloves for the next part if possible. It will help prevent spreading the bacteria. Now this is about the glaze that might come with the ham. Now, this has sugar in it, and sugar is evil. Toss! Use a good pair of scissors and get that ham opened up. I know it's a struggle. Deal with it. Throw away all the plastics. Fully unwrap the ham. And if it came with aluminum foil, use that to cover the ham, but where the bottom is touching the pan. Now wash and sanitize your gloves and the scissors to get the bacteria off of them. Be careful not to cut yourself. Put the oven rack on the bottom shelf and set a timer for 30 minutes. Oh snap, I forgot something. Add 1/3 cup of water to the pan. This is what's going to make it all juicy. Now to start working on the glaze. First thing you need is your favorite kind of butter or vegetable spread. Any unsalted kind will do. I recommend using a small non-stick saucepan so the glaze doesn't stick to it and it's super easy to wash later just by soaking it. In the saucepan, put 1 stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup or 8 tablespoons. Heat the butter in the saucepan over medium heat until golden brown. Now it's time to add the sweeteners. Start with golden monk fruit. This creates the brown sugar flavor. Add 1/4 of that or 4 tablespoons of golden monk fruit. And then add 1 cup of erythritol. Then you want some liquid stevia. This cancels out the cooling effect of the erythritol. You just need about 12 drops of that. You can just use golden monk fruit if you want for a more brown sugary flavor, but it's more expensive and I'm poor people. If you are going to use just golden monk fruit, you just need a cup of that because it's much stronger in sweetness than erythritol, and you won't need any other sweeteners. Now get your cinnamon. Add about 1/4 teaspoon to the pan. Now I've added something to give a little bit more flavor, some apple cider vinegar. I put in 2 tablespoons of that. I figure if you are concerned that apple cider vinegar is too tart or bitter, I discovered during my Thanksgiving turkey stew recipe that the bitterness evaporated away and left the stew with a sweet flavor. Click on the card above and watch this video if you want to see how I bake a turkey and all the fixings, keto style. Now stir the glaze ingredients up until it's all combined. A whisk is good for breaking up the erythritol. Now we're going to thicken the glaze. Start with some almond flour. Any brand will do. The Bob's Red Mill is the kind I got at Kroger. Put in 1/4 cup of that, or 4 tablespoons. In my case, the rest of the bag, lol. Get that all stirred up and break up all the clumps before proceeding to the next step. Next is a secret ingredient of thickening, xanthan gum. You only need 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Now, you want to whisk that right away and do it fast and strong to make sure the xanthan gum doesn't clump up, but instead gets distributed. Now is when you want to turn the heat down to medium-low so it doesn't burn. After 30 minutes are up, you can take the ham out and discard the aluminum foil. Now you can use 1/3 of the glaze and put that on the ham. You pour some on with a spoon, but make sure you brush it to get it everywhere, evenly coated. Turn the ham around and do the other side. Brush it on. And do like me if you want to listen to your YouTube subscriptions while cooking. That's what you're hearing in the background. It's good times. And if you're enjoying this video, please click like and consider subscribing for future content. My content is mostly tech with the occasional sci-fi comedy sketches. Just FYI, again, the food stuff is not all the time, it's just occasionally. Now, back to the ham. Put the ham back in the oven and turn the oven up to 425 degrees. you'll want to set a timer for 15 minutes. Now we can start working on the baked beans. Really, they're not baked, they taste like them. Turn another burner on and get another saucepan on there and start warming it up. These are the kind of beans I use, Great Northern beans. The recipe I will be giving you is for 1 can, but I am doubling it here because I am using 2 cans. So keep that in mind, how many people you are serving and if you want leftovers. Don't forget to stir the glaze every 5 minutes so it doesn't burn or crust over. I'm putting the beans on the larger burner so they can cook evenly, and turning the one with the glaze down to low, and the beans up to medium-high. At about this time, it's been 15 minutes. You'll want to use another 1/3 of the glaze. Pour some, brush it on. Turn it around, pour some, brush it on. Put the ham back in for another 15 minutes. When the beans are steaming and bubbling is when you do the next step. Get your golden monk fruit. You want to add 2 tablespoons of that for each can of beans you are making, so in my case, 4. And stir that up. Don't forget to stir the glaze every 5 minutes. Check out my whisk. The glaze is glazing. Now get the erythritol. Add 2 tablespoons of that per can, in my case, 4. And stir that up. Then grab your liquid stevia and put 3 drops per can of beans, so in this case I put 6. And stir that up before it evaporates. Now get the cinnamon and add 1/4 teaspoon of that per can. I put 2 of those. Stir that all together. You are actually going to want to stir often until most of the water evaporates and the beans thicken into a paste. Around this time you should be getting ready to put the last round of glazing on the ham. Pour and then brush. Turn it around, and guess what? Pour, and then brush. You can use the rest of the glaze now, by the way. Put the ham back in for its last 15 minutes. And I don't have one of those exhaust fan things in my kitchen, so the alarm was going off. So I hurried and pointed a fan out the window. I should have maybe thought about that earlier. And now for the cornbread. I have to give credit to another YouTube channel, Keto Connect, for their recipe. And I will be linking their video in the recipe, which is in the description. Start with some almond flour and a medium bowl. You want 2 cups of almond flour, except I'm making a double batch, so I used 4 cups. This is the brand I found on Amazon because Kroger was out. Links are in the description below for different food stuff you can get on Amazon that I found. Stir the beans so they don't burn to the bottom of the pan. When they start to thicken, turn the temperature down to low. This will keep them from burning, but still hot enough to serve. Now get your coconut flour. You need 1/4 cup of coconut flour, but I'm doing double batch, so I'm using 1/2 cup. Then you get your baking powder and add 1 tablespoon of that. In my case, I wanted 2 tablespoons, which was just about what was left in the can. Now you want to grab whatever pink salt you like to use and add 1 teaspoon of that. The Amazon Basics 1/2 teaspoon measuring thingy fits in my shaker, so I'm doing 4 scoops of that to get the 2 teaspoons I needed for my double batch. Now mix all of the dry ingredients together. Get some butter or vegetable spread. Put 1 stick or 1½ cup butter into the large mixing bowl. Toss. And for a double batch you need 2, so toss. Now tiny awkward kitchen your way to the massive microwave and put that in the microwave for a minute. I actually tried 30 seconds, but that wasn't enough. The thing is, you don't want it to be too hot. So after the first minute, you do it in 30-second bursts. It may be hard to see, but hey, what's that on my butter? Piece of butter wrapper, get out! It may be hard to see, but the butter isn't fully melted. Do some swirlies to see if it wants to melt. If not, put it back in the microwave for 15 seconds. This is when the ham should be done, so get your thermometer and find a good spot where it wants to go through without hitting the bone. The internal temperature of the ham should be at least 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Set the ham out and let it start cooling down. It will actually still be warm enough to eat when the cornbread is done. Or tell me in the comments if you know a way to make the cornbread work in the oven at the same time as the ham without having a temperature conflict. Because the glazed recipe I found was at 425 degrees and the cornbread was at 350. Now you want some baby corn. The recipe calls for 2/3 of a can or a bottle, which was the same size. You can chop them, but I like to use a blender. Since I'm doing a double batch, I'm using 1 1/3 cans worth. It was easy because 15 baby corns come in one bottle. I just put a whole bottle plus 5 more. Now blend them on medium, nothing crazy. See? Better than roughly chopped. Since the ham is done, I am done with my old tiny house exhaust solution what's it. Now this is why you don't want to have the butter to be too hot. Eggs. Because if you put eggs into something that's hot, it's going to cook the eggs. And you don't want that. Put in 3 eggs. Unless you're doing a double batch, then do 6. Now get your sour cream. You need 1/4 cup of that per batch. Now mix that up any way you like. I'm using a whisk because no reason. Now bust out some shredded cheddar cheese and add 1 cup of that to the mix, folding it in. 2 cups if you're doing a double batch, obviously. Then get your chopped baby corn, put that in, and fold that in as well. Finally, fold in the dry mix, 1/3 of it at a time. Doing it in thirds will help make it easier to mix. If you rush this part, it will actually take longer to get the same results. Look how lumpy and doughy it's getting. Yummy. Now get your coconut spray and coat a 9x9 pan for a single batch or 9x13 for a double batch. There is a southern way to do it where you put bacon grease in the pan first and throw that in the oven for 5 minutes till it gets hot, and then you have the batter ready and then immediately put it in. And I learned that from another YouTube channel called Highfalutin Low Carb. Again, in the recipe that's in the description, there's a link to his video as well as the Keto Connect video. So make yours whatever way you want. Put your dough in the pan and then flatten it out with a spoon or gloved hands. Move the baking rack up and bake the cornbread at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. You don't have anything else to do, so this is a good time to do some dishes. The pan you made the glaze in should be addressed now. Soak it and scrape it a little with a plastic spoon to break up the hardened glaze, just a little, and just leave it. Honestly, just leave it, and later on it just like pours right out. It's very easy to clean. After 15 minutes, check the cornbread with the fork. If it's still wet, it needs more time. I did 10 more minutes, and when tapping the cornbread, the fork bounced off. And after poking it, it came out pretty clean. But I like the golden brown around the edges, and it's not quite there yet. I'm thinking that the baking time is longer because I was using a double batch, and a 9x13 is not double the size of 9x9, and also because of the vertical density and blah 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 science. After another 10 minutes, the cornbread was goldeny fresh around the edges. Now it's time to slice. The first piece is always the hardest to get out. Now top that cornbread the way you like. I like some Smart Balanced vegetable spread. That plate is looking good. So let's go to past/filming me for the taste test. All right, so let's do a taste test of this wonderful food I just prepared. Now I won't lie and say this is my first time tasting it because I did sneak some bites off of everything earlier, as you can see here, but try it for you guys so you can see. First, this juicy looking ham that's been glazed. Look at that. Very juicy. Tastes like candy. It's sweet and it's got that smoke flavor at the same time. Love tasting that every year. Now, these beans. Taste just like baked beans. They have brown sugar in them. Except better, because you don't have all those extra like preservatives and stuff. It's just beans and sweetener. And that's it. Let's try this cornbread. It looks amazing. Look at that. It definitely tastes like a homemade cornbread. Not like the box. It's fluffy and it's moist. Well, that's it for the taste test. That cornbread. You don't even taste the cheese. Kind of. Whatever. Back to future/editing me to close out the video. Well, that's it for the video. Tell me what you thought about my recipes. Also, tell me what kind of videos you look forward to seeing in 2021. You may have noticed that I've been kind of taking it easy on my videos during the holidays. You know, busy, stressed, just want to chill, all of the above. It's multiple choice, whatever. But thanks for watching the video. I'm going to stick a card up so you can see my turkey recipes video if you like to make turkey for Christmas. And my last sci-fi video, which is actually the Halloween special, I'll put that over here. And you can @ me over here, or you can subscribe to my channel right over here. Or if you like the music that you've been hearing in the background, you want to listen to it by itself, you can check my music channel out right here. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.